Hey brand builder, are you building your product-based business and investing a ton of money in paid ads, but you're not seeing any traction? You're in the right place today because we're going to be talking about what builds a successful product-based brand. So the first thing we need to do is we really need to understand who a niche is. And what am I talking about? Who are you selling your product to? How does your product fit into their life? How do they behave? Where do they shop? What type of content do they consume? The reason I'm saying this is many of you product-based businesses build your brands out of passion. You have this idea, you're making a product, and you're trying to satisfy your own need. But before you do that, you have to understand who's actually going to buy your product. The reason I'm saying this is because you have to leverage your consumer psychology when you're marketing. Without understanding why somebody is buying you, it's going to be impossible to literally attract them with your marketing. So let me give you an example. We all know Nike, right? Who doesn't love a Nike shoe? I would actually say that's one of my favorite brands. I'm always either wearing it to the gym or wearing it every single day as I'm dressing up. And one thing that Nike has done fantastically, really well is tying in their vision and their mission and bringing it to life within their marketing. So for example, Nike's mission is do everything possible to expand human potential. Just literally think about that statement. Do everything possible to expand human potential. At the center of that messaging is you, the consumer. Well, we all know that Nike believes that everybody is an athlete, and that is why they sell products to everyone. So as you're building your brand, who are you selling that product to? The second thing we actually need to think about is ensuring that your brand is easy to buy. And hear me out, my people, I'm not talking about convenience. When we're building small businesses, sometimes we try to be the Amazon of the industry, but you're not there yet. What do you need to think about when you're making your brand easier to buy? The first thing I want you to understand is this. What is your customer's purchasing decision? How do they buy? Do they think about a bundle first, or do they think about a single product? Do they think about flavor first, or do they think about a particular size? So for example, if you're in the beauty space, my beauty people, you know I love you all, think about what are some of the decisions that your audience has to make when they're buying a beauty product. In many cases, I'm a heavy beauty consumer. I literally think about how much time do I have to during the day to use this product. So particularly around makeup. I'm the kind of person, literally just give me a 10 to 15 minute skincare, makeup routine and a skincare system. Anything beyond that is too complex. I do not have time. I'm not going to waste my money buying any product. So as you're thinking about your brand, how is your audience making that purchasing decision? Are they thinking first about how much time it's going to take them to use their product? Are they thinking about style? This is for the fashion people. Like a lot of people, when they're buying apparel, they're either thinking about the colors, they're thinking about the patterns, they're thinking about their body fit. What does that look like for your audience? That is what I mean when I'm talking about making your brand easier to buy. It's really understanding the narrative behind what the purchasing decision looks like and ensuring that you're meeting your customer where they're at. And then the other thing when it comes to ensuring that your brand is easy to buy, if you're selling online in the e-commerce space, my friend, please make sure that your website is easy to navigate. Why am I saying that? Because at the end of the day, many of us, especially in this day and age, we're buying using our phones. If your consumer doesn't get what you're selling and doesn't understand your best-selling item, I can tell you, my friend, they're not going to waste time on your website. So my question to you right now is your website easy to navigate? Can your audience find what they're looking for? Or have you literally jumbled it up with a ton of products, with lots of messaging, and you're not sure what exactly you're supposed to be putting or what exactly your audience is supposed to be buying? Because that could be the reason why you're not making sales. And I know now you've probably listened to me and you're like, How does this help me ramp up my sales? Well, I got you. Click the link below in the description notes and download the Product Brand Growth Guide. This guide has been designed to literally show you the strategies you're supposed to focus on depending on the stage of business you are in. So if you're in the emerging stage, I'm really showing you what are the branding, marketing, and sales strategies you're supposed to focus on. If you're in the growth stage, I'm also showing you what are the marketing, branding, and sales strategy. And likewise, if you're in the scale-up stage, because at the end of the day, branding and marketing literally feed into your sales ecosystem, and this is how they help you grow and build a successful product brand business. Now, let's move to the next step where I want us to really talk about making your brand noticeable. And this is a special one to me because the industry is filled with narrative around run paid ads, do some Facebook ads, TikTok ads, YouTube ads, you name it. But this is the thing. Being noticeable has got nothing to do with the amount of money you're pumping into your marketing. Being noticeable has everything to do with your brand's key message. You may ask me, Maureen, what's a brand's key message? Your brand's key message is the singular idea that your audience is supposed to resonate with. It's the singular idea that ties together all your marketing and branding efforts. Let me give you an example right now. I love Halo Top. Why do I like Halo Top? The reason I love Halo Top is because that brand speaks to me. I'm into fitness, I'm constantly working out, I'm constantly looking at my calories, not really counting, but I'm very conscious about what I put into my body. But at the same time, I'm all about the balance. I want to make sure I'm either drinking some good whiskey, but also having some good ice cream. And when I'm having my ice cream, I do not want to have ice cream that's densely packed with calories. And the ice cream that I literally gravitate towards is Halo Top. And why do I gravitate towards Halo Top? Because Halo Top's brand's key message is permissible indulgence is allowed. It's okay to put yourself first. It's okay to treat yourself. That is Halo Top's brand's key message. When I see that piece of content, whether I'm scrolling on social, think about TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you consume your content, and I see that messaging, without a shadow of a doubt, they're going to get my money. So now, evaluate what is your brand's key message? What is that emotion that you're trying to convey? What is that emotion that you want your audience to resonate with? Because that's what people cling on. That is what people use to buy your product. And every single time I am working with clients, a great example that I constantly use over and over again is, assume you were selling your product for $1,000. Does your messaging right now convey or persuade somebody to give you $1,000? Because here's the thing. Somebody who's giving you $1,000 is also making a decision whether they're going to pay their rent, right? So you have to remember that people are choosing. People are either hiring a product or firing a product. So for somebody to hire your product, what is that emotion that you want them to resonate with? That is the singular idea that needs to be used across all your assets and also help you activate or market whatever it is that you're selling. And now I want to talk about the fourth element, and this is ensuring that you are building a memory structure with your brand. And let me explain to you what this means and how you actually build memory structure. You build memory structure by really creating distinctive assets within your brand. And what is a distinctive asset, you may ask? A distinctive asset is an element that your audience uses to make a connection with your brand. And it could be colors, it could be logos, it could be images, it could be a tagline, it could be an audio. And for you to see what I'm talking about, I really want to bring in some brands that many of you are familiar with. I can take the Coca-Cola brand. Who doesn't drink a soda or who doesn't know Coca-Cola? The shape of the bottle is a distinctive element. It's been like that over and over again. For those in the US, think about Nationwide insurance. Do you know the audio that always comes? Nationwide is on your side. That's a distinctive element in the form of an audio. Think about McDonald's, like the arch, that's a distinctive element. And the reason why these elements are necessary in your brand is because they help your consumer identify your brand without you having to say what the name is. And this resonance over and over again helps your marketing become more efficient. Why? Because if I see this element and I know what the brand is all about, I'll be curious to see what they're marketing. If I'm interested, I'm going to convert and become a customer. And over time, brands have learned to do this. And one example that I read from How Brands Grow by Byron Sharp is he talked about Subway. So back in the day, there were so many sandwich shops. You could think about a mom and pop, a bodega just selling sandwiches. But not many of those shops had branded themselves. And then Subway came in with their green color and the touch of yellow. Every time you see those colors, you always know it's a Subway sandwich shop. And over time, you build connection, and eventually you build brand loyalty. Because at the end, branding is all about building that loyalty with your audience. And the power of loyalty is all around your community. Your community is your currency. Your community is everything that's all about brand building. So right now, as a small business owner, think about it from your perspective. Do you have a distinctive asset that you've created in your brand? If you don't, choose one. Choose something simple that will constantly be referenced over and over again. And then commit to that process, because the next tip I want to talk about is leveraging those assets so that you can enhance your marketing activity. It's that leveraging and the repetition of you showing and talking about it over and over again and referencing those things that creates a successful brand, because you cannot assume that people know what you're all about, what your elements mean, and anything around your brand. Every time you're attracting new customers, but also at the same time, you're losing some of those customers. And I do not want you, brand builder, to make an assumption that people will remember you always. It's your job to constantly repeat this over and over again. And the next tip here that really helps build a successful product-based business is consistency. Yes, I know, my friend. And here I really want to talk about consistency in your packaging and consistency in your product assortment. Why? Because what I've seen with clients over and over again is the tendency to change their packaging if something doesn't work. There's this illusion that every time I rebrand, every time I change my packaging, I'm going to attract somebody new or I'm going to create a lot of money. This is the thing, my friend. You change your packaging, you're literally losing all the equity that you've built over time. And now your audience has to remind themselves, who the heck are you? And then you have to now put content of the before and the after. You don't want to do that at all. If you choose a packaging formula and a packaging architecture, please make sure you keep that for a period of time. Because every time you change your packaging, you're going to lose the equity on your brand. And then when it comes to product assortment, when you're initially launching your brand and you're really trying to get to the $1 million mark, I always recommend having a hero product that you're constantly talking about over and over again. Because if you confuse your audience, they're not going to buy. A confused buyer does not buy. And a confused buyer is actually going to get so irritated and move over to your competition. If you want to build that magnetism, if you want to build that consistent brand that stands the test of time, that sticky brand factor that many of you want, you really have to ask yourself, what's your lead product assortment? and stick with that. Build your messaging around that. Build your marketing activity around that, because at the end of the day, the repetition builds reputation. And now you've gotten to this part of the video and you're wondering, what do I do next? I literally want you to click the link down below and download the guide. This guide is a product brand growth guide, and it literally talks about the 3 profit stages that every product brand goes through. I focus on emerging stage, I focus on the growth stage, and I also focus on the scaling stage. But in addition to that, I show you all the strategies you need to build a successful brand, but also help you identify what you need to be laser focused on in order to identify your next growth stage. And with that, bye-bye.